Hi guys, my name is Cecilia Varela, and today my TED Talk is going to be about animal cruelty in Seaworld. Now, I didn't know what was really happening when I usually went to Seaworld, like, oh, this is really fun, like, is this what I want to do when I grow up? I want to be one of the trainers. But as I got older and I started watching more documentaries and, know what really happens, I was just mind blown. So today I'm going to hopefully leave you guys with an understanding of what really goes on in SeaWorld and just how happy these animals are. So right now, I'm going to give you 10 facts about the Shamu and what really goes on. So first off, their sunburns are covered in black zinc oxide, which is when the Shamu, the orcas, they usually spend their time floating. They're always in the sun, and they're usually not covered up. Whereas in the wild, 95% of the time they spend their lives underwater in the shadows. So in SeaWorld, they really don't have that advantage. So the deepest tank they have is about 40 feet, which is not really deep. And because of this, they continually have sunburns, but no one really notices it because, once again, they're covered in zinc oxide. Second fact is that there is approximately 5 captive orcas at SeaWorld. An example could be from Tilikum, the 32-year-old orca, which most of you know if you have seen the movie Blackfish. He was a 32-year-old orca, was captured by the age of 2. He wasn't taken from his natural environment because he was injured. Instead, he was taken away from his family against his will and confined to a small concrete tank for hefty profits. So that's a fact. The third one is some of them, if they're not captured, they end up getting killed. There's a brief story. In 1965, the first show ever on SeaWorld was performed by a female orca named Shamu, which is why everyone calls it orca Shamu. During Shamu's capture, her mother was shot with a harpoon and killed before the young orca opened her eyes. And the person that killed Shamu's mother was named Ted Griffin, and his partner Dan Goldsberry, and they later became to work for SeaWorld, and they continued to keep killing and slaughtering orcas, and at one point they hired drivers to slit open the bellies of 4 orcas and fill them with rocks, put anchors around their tails and sink them to the bottom of the ocean so that their death could be covered up. The fourth one's kind of explicit, but it's kind of gross, but we're going to talk about it anyways. The trainers tend to masturbate the whales to collect sperm to do collective breeding. So in nature, they usually find their spouse and they mate, but at SeaWorld, they're forced to breed on a regular basis, so they tend to collect the sperm, and they tend to breed at a very young age. One of the ages that were breeded was about 9 years old. And another one is orcas in captivity have a shorter lifespan. So orcas in the wild tend to live between 60 to 70 for males and 80 to 100 for females. That number has reduced pretty low. Now it's about 30 to 50 years in captivity. And last fact is that the trainers are not marine biologists, they are performers. So they don't have any education in marine biology. Their main purpose is to put on a show for the visitors and tourists that come. They really don't educate the people about what's going on, about the social nature or natural family behavior, the habitats of the animals at SeaWorld. And when I was watching the documentary, I saw there was interviews. There was a former SeaWorld trainer named John Hargrove, I think is how you pronounce it. And he is now anti-SeaWorld, and I'm going to read off a question that he was asked in an interview from National Geographic. It says, what are the negative physical and psychological effects of confinement and training in orcas? And he responded, I wish it wasn't that way. It would make my life so much easier if I could say that these animals are thriving, incapacitated, living happy and enriched lives. Unfortunately, after all the years I've experienced that I had, I saw the psychological, physical trauma that results from captivity. A massive corporate entity is exploiting the hell out of these whales and trainers. You're nothing more than a number on a sheet, and if that moment arises, you will be thrown under the bus and even blamed for your own death. So basically, this article, they just kept talking about his experience and stuff, and I'm gonna leave you on that foot. I think this was pretty influential on me, because all my life, I wanted to be a SeaWorld trainer, and I really didn't understand what really happened behind closed doors. And now that I've opened my mind, I've kind of become educated, and I know that what they're doing is wrong, and I kind of want to help tell others